is Monday, May 10th, and we're back at it again. Good morning, everyone. Trust you had a fantastic weekend. And like we said, happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day. Belated Mother's Day greetings to all the beautiful and wonderful moms we got out there. I trust you really took the time out to, just show her how special she is, especially with all that's going on. So many would have lost their moms and were not able to celebrate. While a lot of us were happy to have our mothers with us yesterday, a lot weren't. Some lost their moms to COVID and other illnesses and what have you. So I really, really hope those of us who were fortunate enough to have our mothers around really made her feel special yesterday. So, like I said, we got a very, very, very special guest. She's definitely no stranger to Power 95. It's almost like, a Power family. But hey, for those of you who have not met her before, you're going to find out a whole lot and what she's been up to. It's almost a year since, COVID came around and disrupted life as we know it. And knowing my guest being that social butterfly and liking to be all over, I know that must have been a terrible period for her. So, without any further ado, let me say special morning to Yvette Noel Schure and welcome her back to Power 95. How are you?
Good morning. I am well now that I'm home.
You were literally dying to be home.
Crying every day. It was a very, March 9th, 2020, I went into my office and I felt a weight. I felt there was something going on with the world. I didn't know what it was. I just felt so burdened. And I grabbed my computer and went home and stayed home. Like that same day they closed my office, and it's just been difficult. I'm used to being on a plane, sometimes 4 times a month, So that was hard.
So before we get into more details as to how you've been coping and, the dreaded virus that stopped the entire world, grounded the world to a halt. I've got a lot of new listeners as always, and I'm seeing a couple. Who is this beautiful lady? So we're gonna start off with who. We're gonna start off with the introduction of who is this beautiful lady in studio with me this morning. So for the benefit of those who may not be quite familiar with who you are, let's start there.
Well, my name, Yvette Noel Schure, born Yvette Noel right here in Grenada in Birch Grove, St. Andrews, in that house that's very close to the Catholic Church in Birch Grove. And I left Grenada at 14 and went to the United States, became a journalist, and then quickly became a publicist. Well, not quickly, it was quite a time. But I've been a publicist now for so long that I don't even remember that I was a journalist. And I'm a publicist. I worked at Sony Music, Columbia Records, for about 17 years. And then I left and started my own company. And I have some great, great artists, some of them from the Caribbean, including Buju Banton. I love Buju. And of course, the one that I've worked the longest with that everybody knows is Beyonce. I've worked with her since she was about 14, 15 years old. And she's still one of my just priority clients. And I think now everybody probably knows Chloe and Halle. They're my new babies. And I'm really, really proud of working with people outside of America. Obviously, Buju is based in Jamaica, and I have a new client. His name is Teeks. He's out of New Zealand. So my fingers are crossed that New Zealand would open their borders and I can get there. But I went to school, girls' school. It was called girls' school then, in Grenville, and SJC Grenville. Woo woo! But Grenada is home, and I love coming here.
So, in a nutshell, now that we have a little idea, for those of you who haven't touched base before, like we said, it's been an entire year, since a year and some that, the world has been grounded to a halt. And I'm sure never in our wildest imagination that we would have thought, there's a virus that's going to stop us from knowing life, doing the things we love, We are people that love to socialize. We like going out. We love hanging on the blocks. We love going to the little shops. We love doing things like that. And I don't think anyone ever imagined in this century that we would experience something like this.
Yeah.
How have you been coping? I mean, like I said, somebody who's out there.
Whew. It was hard. I mean, my job description is everything you just said. Socializing, it's music, it's people, it's concerts, it's clubs, it's red carpet, it's award shows, it's wherever there's a crowd, so that stopped. I have to say though that music continued. As you know, people's playlists got very imaginative, and so a lot of artists, certainly in the big countries, started to create even more. So instead of working on albums, people were working on EPs and singles. But it was very, very difficult. I remember at one point I was in my closet. I have a pretty good sized closet, so I brought a desk in there. I brought a desk in there, put my computer in there, put up Mama and Papa's picture so that I have a focal point, and just I have a rosary over my desk, and I just started focusing on work. But I think 3 months in, I got on my knees. I had to surrender. It was a grief. Like I was grieving my former life. It was very, very difficult. Cried a lot. But, this might sound cliche, but the DJ saved my life, no, literally the DJs around the world saved my life.
Music saved our lives. Because, I mean, you saw the numbers rising on YouTube. You saw folks gravitating more towards radios and programs that were, developed just to, make people feel a sense of normalcy, concerts, virtual concerts, things we
But also, I think hearing a voice like your voice or any radio personality around the world, it filled up space. The noise that silent noise is deafening. You finally by yourself. A lot of people, we don't think about that. How mental illness played a part in this whole thing. People that were really together finally had a moment to themselves, and they didn't like it. The stillness was very depressing for people. Anxiety, depression, all of that. So it's music that kind of you found a song to answer everything you wanted to, but also the good thing, if there's such a good thing in a pandemic, was about you can weed out all the bad things that you didn't want. You're just like,
all the time in the world.
Exactly. All the projects you were putting aside, you can get to them. So.
But the thing is, I know COVID has a lot of disadvantages, but there are a lot of advantages I saw to it. People became more creative because I never thought I'd be sitting in my home. These are artists you'll have to pay a lot to see, and you're seeing artists putting on virtual concerts and shows and what have you, just to, remain relevant and to touch base with their fans and, to show them how much they're missed and loved and what have you. I never thought I would be sitting at my home and being grateful for a virtual concert.
Yeah, well, I was involved in the very beginning, trying to get a lot of my artists booked. Global Citizen, the big initiative, they started doing those live concerts on IG, and I remember we had Chloe and Halle on there, but pretty much everybody was on there doing a concert. They were doing them sometimes 3-4 times a week. That kept people going, but we have to give credit to D Nice.
Yeah,
D Nice saved us. He saved the whole world.
Imagine seeing millions of people on a live.
It was crazy. You remember that night when Oprah and Michelle Obama were in there? You was just, I'm at the best party in the world from my closet.
It was bad when you saw the likes of Oprah, etc., on Instagram, looking at a live DJ playing songs.
Not just looking. Commenting, yes.
That's when it was bad. Yeah. Folks were definitely
people were lonely and missing interaction. I missed hugs. Certainly I was at home with my husband, my 2 daughters. My daughter and her boyfriend ended up giving up their apartment and coming to be with us. So we had a real sort of tight group. But other than them, I wasn't hugging anyone else, and I'm a hugger. You still have to be safe. So it was really tough. That was tough.
Now, from the artists that you deal with, though, how you think they managed to cope, though?
I think,
what was it like for them?
I think for each and every one of them, their humanity was what was important first, and I think they had to take care of themselves as people. They had to not think about, well, my audience is going to miss me. It's not that. I think for them it was like, let me be whole. Let me be whole with my family, you know, and let me take the time to be creative, because the audience that we just left in March is a different audience. It's a more sensitive audience. We need to do things that are, first you have to go inner, but then you have to be powerful enough to go outer and really inspire people, you know? And sometimes you have to do things that just make people laugh and wonder, you know. I think I think there were some great songs, amazing songs. I mean, I was really so happy that we were able to put out Black is King. I think it really was what everybody needed at the time, just really an empowering piece of tool. But I also love that, you know, Cardi B made us just crack up with WAP, you know? So I think there were all these things that meant something really deep and legacy kind of driven, but there were also things that was like, yeah, I'm still fine. I'm gaining 20 pounds in my closet, but you know what? I'm good, you know? So, but I think the artists first had to cope as humans, and then they became extremely creative. I mean, Black is King was finished basically with the whole staff being in different places. That's hard to do, you know, when you sort of feed on each other's energy when you're editing and so. But my God, that's another thing that saved us all. Yeah.
Now, in terms of, you know, our own local artists and what have you, and, you know, being in the position that you are, a lot of them find themselves stuck. They're not sure if to go up, down, across, below. They just stuck, you know, because this is not what they're used to. We're in May, and, you know, last year to this year, May, getting ready for Carnival, putting themselves in, you know, studio mode and not being able to do that. I know they too are struggling. They're stuck. From your perspective, what would you say to artists like these who don't know what direction to go? What's next?
So this is going to be really controversial, and I didn't want to be controversial at all. I wanted to be apolitical this morning.
Let's hear it.
One, you have to just remain creative. You just have to keep, because now, you know, YouTube is really your tube, right? It's really your tube. You can create your content. You can put it out there. You can use your IG to put things out. But as the world is slowly opening, we know we have to return. We have to. There's no choice. You know, humanity needs to return. And there are some incredible scientists that did something to help us return. And I think that, you know, it'll be great if more and more artists get themselves vaccinated.
I was about to ask your thoughts.
I really believe, I know it's hard. It's a decision to make. There's a historical thing that everybody go back to that say, oh, I don't trust it. But we have to trust science, because if we don't, the world as we know it, certainly for entertainers and for those who love entertaining, like to see entertainers, it won't be the same. It won't be the same. One of the things about music, certainly we could all listen to music in our closets, in our cars, whatever.
Wherever.
But the amazing thing about music is that it creates community. It creates community. We all sit around, we stand there, we sit, and we see an artist, and we all identify with that song. This is my song. Oh my God, that's my song. That song makes me happy. That song makes me feel powerful. Well, to have that, you know, I don't know for sure what the rules are going to be, but I can bet the rules are going to be that everybody who comes into a live situation will have to prove that they won't be the person that could hurt 80,000 people or 100,000 people. So I think the artists have to consider getting themselves fully vaccinated. The audiences have to take that into their hands too, get themselves vaccinated, so that we could all party again, you know? And I know it's controversial. I think it's going to take a minute for everybody to feel there, but we've got to get there so we can get back to a new life. We'll never get back to the old life. It's never going to be the old life. The world has changed, and that's the thing about the world. We're in constant motion. We didn't think we were going to be thrown off a volcano like that, like, you know, some woman named, you know, Corona, but
listen,
I think
it's a
we
man.
have to do better.
It's not a woman.
Oh, it's probably a man, right? It's probably a man, but usually when it ends in an A, they say it's feminine. So I don't know. Yeah.
So, but and like you said, it's controversial, and you hear every day you hear folks saying, well, for whatever reason, they're not going to take it. At the end of the day, it's still your choice.
It's still your choice.
But I mean, if we've been doing this, we've been getting vaccinated for years. As a matter of fact, since you're a baby, you get vaccinated. You can't go to
Listen,
school.
I have a scar on my arm. I left Grenada in 75. If you ask anybody in their 50s like I am to lift their shirt up, lift their sleeve up, everybody has that scar. There's like a little bit of just a little scar
The
left
old school
over.
way.
We could not travel without being vaccinated. And that was 75. So I just want people to think, when you think of history, don't just don't take up what's just convenient for you. I'm a girl who left here. I could not get on a plane without being vaccinated.
And you had the choice: take it
Take or don't.
Don't. And
Exactly.
remain where you are.
Exactly.
So again, like everything else in life, they are choices, but you have to decide, okay, I'm asking for normalcy. I'm asking for events. I'm asking for places to reopen. I'm asking for a semblance of what I knew before.
Right.
But the question is, how am I going to get it if I'm not prepared to do certain things? Because I mean, at the end of the day, hate it or like it, this is where we are.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's not just it's not just Grenada. The entire world
The entire world.
has been,
There's not one place that
that was spared, not
Exactly.
one, and sometimes, like I said, you just have to take a look. And I think maybe because we managed to get it under control, and we don't have the numbers like we're seeing now in Trinidad, 3,000 plus active cases and 200 plus dying of COVID, and looking at what's happening in India and other places where
Yeah.
the numbers are like ridiculously high.
terrible.
And-
It's terrible.
and
We have
we
to pray
don't-
for India every day.
So like I said this morning, maybe if you just stop for a minute and we're not even going as far as India, but just go as close as Trinidad. Imagine if we were to have that outbreak.
Yeah. Well, Grenada, let me
God
just
forbid.
say, like, as a Grenadian, just as a human, at my home, looking at what was happening in the world, and I read everything. I'm interested in everything. I love people. There are places I want to go, so I've been checking the maps to see, I have to say Grenada did a remarkable job. A remarkable job. What you can't rely on is things staying the same. The only how they'll stay well is if everybody does their part. So, okay, you have to decide whether or not you want to take a vaccine. And I'm afraid of vaccines too. I'm afraid of needles. But I'm fully vaccinated. Because guess why I'm fully vaccinated? Because I wanted to come home. And I wanted to talk to someone like you and hug someone like you and know that I'm not going to be a detriment to you.
And
I
vice
wanted
versa.
to do the most selfless thing in the world, and that's why I'm vaccinated. And when I wear my mask, I make sure my nose is covered. Not just my mouth, my nose, because I want to make sure I'm protecting the next person. And that's what we
I
have
think
to
that's where
do.
the buck stops. Not just thinking about yourself, and probably not even thinking about the next person, but thinking about a family member.
Exactly.
Your elderly grandmother, your mother, your father, your grandfather, a child. Because
Yes.
it spares no one. No one is exempt because of their age, the color of their skin, or whatever it is.
Right. I mean, I lost people. My aunt, Lenora, from Bylands, got COVID 4 days later. 4 days later, she was gone.
Wow.
A week later, we were all on Zoom from Bylands, from New York, from London, watching a camera zoom in her body to us. It's real for me. It's real for me. So, for those conspiracy theorists who think that this
We
is
have a
not
lot of
real,
those.
it's not true. I've been to enough funerals.
Virtual funerals.
Yeah, my most trusted partner in business lost his parents a week apart, back to back. Dad first, mom. It's real. This is a man that was my intern when he was a 20-year-old. So I've known him his entire
like
life, and
family.
his parents, his family. His family, and I'm on Zoom watching both 2 coffins. Like, this is, people
Yeah.
need to
And
stop.
a friend of mine once said to me, you know what? You don't know how hurtful it is until it actually hits home. His mother hospitalized and could not get to visit.
That's the worst
Could
part.
not go visit. Mother died, could not visit. And he
the
was like,
worst
if you
part.
know about, he was like, it's worse than anything he's ever imagined in his entire life.
Absolutely.
The thought that your mom gets COVID, goes to the hospital, and you cannot see her, died by herself, no family, nobody allowed to visit.
And that's why we have to love and cherish nurses and doctors, the ones that become us, substitute for families, hold someone's hand that they really don't know, speak to them, because they say as you're dying, your ears become sharper.
Yep.
Speak to them, tell them your family really loves you. It's just we're in a mess, Please,
Having to take up
people
that
need to
phone and
stop
make a
saying-
call
yeah,
and
people
tell
need
that
to
person,
stop saying that
listen,
doesn't exist.
your mother just died, your father
Exactly.
just died.
Exactly.
It is serious, and I really hope that we will take it for what it is. And because, as a matter of fact, right through the Caribbean, you've seen, the political football that has been played with it, and it's not a political thing.
It's not
It's
a
a
political
human thing.
It's about saving lives, the ones that are here now, and building a future for generations to come. It's for, pushing our children to see that there are other roles they can play. It's looking at the Black female scientist who was instrumental in developing the vaccine. It's about people thinking, all these myths. People need to look at real facts and know that, do you really think that on March 3rd or March 9th or March 13th, 2020 is when they started developing this? No. SARS was here. Ebola was here. The scientists have been working. They've been working because
Just
they knew that
move.
our lives were in danger. They've been trying to figure out something that would stop a huge breakout, which is, and we should be grateful that with technology and everything else that we could get to a place where we are now. And we're going to get better and better. But like you're still right. It's people's choices to make, but I can't be next to you if you're not trying to protect me,
No, we're gonna have a problem.
You
and
have
that's
a
what
problem with
happens.
that.
Someone is saying on the live that one will never know until they have the experience. However, people should not need it to happen to them in order to believe or have, empathy for others. The human spirit need to warm up a bit.
Very
like
true.
that.
I want to hug you, virtually hugging and kissing you right now.
Need to warm up a bit.
Yeah.
Now, looking ahead though, entertainment as we knew it, that's gone. Looking ahead, what are you looking forward to the most? Like when we get there. What are
Okay,
you looking
so
forward to?
I'm a serial traveler. I'm looking forward to my 2 suitcases being in my closet in constant packing motion, so that I could go to some of the places that I haven't been. I have a whole list of places I've been, and it's a pretty envious list, but it's not long enough. And I want to resume the charitable work that we do around the world. I want to go back to Burundi. I want to go back to South America. I want to freely come to Grenada if I want to come for a weekend. I don't want to stay 7 days in a hotel looking at Grand Anse and I can't go on it. Although I have to tell you, and I have to give praises to the folks at Radisson and how amazing they were, and how they followed all the rules, and they were so. I remember at one point I ordered a meal, and I put my mask on, and I came to the door, and I said, "Oh, come in," and she's like, "I can't come in." I was like, "Right, you can't come in. Let me take the tray from you," and then and she was so good at it. She was like, "No. When you go to the other side and you're out of quarantine, then I can bring in your meal." Yeah. So.
Okay. What was the experience like for you though, from booking that flight and saying, you know what, I'm going home, I'm fully vaccinated, I'll be in quarantine for 2 days. What was it like for you?
Sadly for me, I was so anxious to come home that I sort of mapped it after my second vaccine. I waited 3 weeks because you wait 2 weeks for the antibodies, and then so I was I do everything by the book. But when I booked my flight pertaining to when I got my first and second dose, I fell into that 7 day still. So as I was getting ready to pack, I heard Grenada has changed its store. It's going to be 2 days. I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, I'm fully vaccinated. Will they let me just be in there for 2 days? No. So I was in there for 7 days. But that's what I love. And that's what I want to tell people here who are listening to my voice, but also on my Instagram. And when I go back, and to all my friends in Africa and New Zealand and everywhere, that what I love about Grenada, they follow the rules. I mean, it's mango, yeah, and it's definitely breadfruit, and it's definitely Grand Anne's Beach, but rules are being followed. And so if you come to Grenada, what a sacrifice. Is that a sacrifice to be holed up on Grand Anne's Beach? No, I think it's good. I enjoyed every moment. I think day 5 was a little hard for me because that was when I had the COVID test, and then the 2 days of waiting and trying to but no, I loved it. I loved every second of it. I'm going to stay here a little longer and really work from here, like literally set up my office and kind of like do my Zooms from here. But yeah, it feels good to be here.
I know, because I've been following you along and seeing every day was like my friend Dr. Ralph Gonzalez lamentations for you. You were just, you were not doing good at all. You were not doing good at all. Every post, even posting old pictures.
Yes, yes, it was hard. It was very hard for me. And my sister who lives here, our Curl John, she's a hugger, and I missed her hugs, and I miss my niece, and I miss my brother-in-law. I miss my friends. I just wanted to come home. My cousins in Byland, that was just really hard. I'm about Grenada. There's like no place I have been around the world that is prettier. There are no people that are friendlier, even when they point in your face and telling you to do something right.
True.
There's no place where I feel like a full community hug every time. There's no other place in the world that I want to say thank you to more, for everything I've learned. And so being in that closet for 14 months was too much for me.
No, they're complaining that, can you kindly ask Ms. Schure to show more of her face?
You can't see my face.
Yes. Okay, so you have to don't be on this camera.
Which camera am
This one right here.
This black one?
Yes.
Okay, so do I need to be here?
Yes.
Is that better?
I think better. They're complaining they're not seeing your beautiful
I'm
face.
sorry.
And they're
so
not.
Is that better?
Is that better? Yeah.
Okay, that's better. Okay, I'm going to stay here. I'm going to talk to the camera.
Yeah. I know, because like you said, you're that person, you like interacting and looking at the person you're speaking to. So.
But I like to talk to Arena.
So you got it now. But what do you think, looking ahead though, like I said, entertainment like we knew it, it's long gone. We're not going to do that we did before. So folks just need to if we get that part out of our head, we'll be able to move along faster. That life will not be the same. It's not the same. Now, as we look ahead in terms of entertainment, what do you think that'll be like?
I think we're going to return to touring. I do. I feel. I don't think it's going to be the way it was. I think capacities are going to be less. I think in the beginning they have to test it. I don't know if you saw that the UK tested. Everybody was. I don't know if I have the facts right, but I think everybody was vaccinated, and they all had to still get a test, and they had they were partying, and then they're going to monitor everybody, and so far everybody's good. So I think we're going to return little by little, and I think what's going to happen is, instead of going into a venue that has 80,000 people, you're probably going to have 40,000 people spread out, and you're probably the National Football League did it how you come in with your people that you're quarantined with, and you in your little bubble, and you're enjoying the game. And I think music is going to start doing that. I don't think this year. I think if anything is 2022, 2023. But that's what no one has told me that.
It's your personal opinion.
I'm hoping this is just my personal opinion, because the truth is, I love touring. Have you seen my epic videos of screaming when Jay-Z comes out on stage?
Yes, we've seen them.
Love touring.
That's why I knew you were having a hard time.
I was having a hard time. I was like, but what is happening? Yeah, but I also think that we could start,
Yeah, this
outdoors.
your face gone again.
Oh, my face is gone
Right,
again. Here I am. Okay, here I am, people.
Yeah.
I think we could do outdoor concerts. I think it's easier to manage, like, keeping people apart. Like stadiums are kind of open, so that's good. But I think I'm not ready to go back into a tight, dark club. I'm not ready for that yet.
No,
Nah.
I'm not that
I'm
comfortable
not comfortable with that yet.
Yes.
In fact, restaurants still scare me.
Even though vaccinated, I'm not.
Yeah.
Nah, I'll chill on that
me.
still.
But yesterday I went to Punjabi, and they're doing a great job there.
Yes, they are.
Oh my!
Yeah,
First of all, they have an open restaurant anyhow, but how they've situated the tables, and you walk in, and they take your temperature, and they give you the
On
Big
point.
up to Abby.
Big up Punjabi.
Yes,
Definitely getting
yes,
some props this
Big
morning.
props.
Now there's a number of young artists that have sprung up as a result of people having more time and access to YouTube and just having time generally. I've seen a lot of young and upcoming artists with a lot of potential. And every time you come here, I'm always getting please ask Miss Yvette how she can help us. What can we do? How can we get the next level? And being someone who's working with young talent like Chloe and Haley, who I love, by the way.
They're the best. Chloe and Hallie are the best. First of all, they're the best people. I have a thing about the talent is important, but if you're not a good person, if you're not a kind person, I don't really want to work with you. Honestly, because I don't need that problems around me. So pretty much everybody I work with are also really good people, and they want to give back to the world. Chloe and Hallie are amazing. I've seen some incredible artists here in Grenada, and there are two artists in particular. I mean, Mr. Killer is like one of my favorite, and I have, there are people that I already established, but two sort of up and coming artists that I think have been putting in the work, and I think they just might be Grenada's best hope for international pop success, and I'm going to keep my eyes on them. I think you know who they are. I mean, Tammy. I mean, she's
very talented.
She's just ridiculous with that voice. That voice, she could sing anything. And Jefferson. I mean,
someone just asked that question.
What the heck?
Have you heard Jefferson's "Pray for Your Son"?
First of all, let me say something about my Grenada people and why I love Grenadians. So I've been coming home and going to street food and seeing Jefferson for years. I actually went up to him years ago and said, I'm going to have a big birthday in 2021, and you have to sing at my party. And he's like, okay, yeah. And a couple of weeks ago, I had something about 100 DMs. I had WhatsApp. I had texts. I had phone calls, all with telling me I must see this video. I saw the video. I loved the video. I called my sister. I said, give me his number. And I was like, only in Grenada you could ask for somebody's number and they just give it to you,
right?
And I called him and had a really great chat with him. He is absolutely amazing, and I'm keeping my eye on John T. John T's a very different kind of artist, very young, very fresh. You've got some good people here. I actually think if there's someone here that's really, really into the music, that what they need to do is just create a distribution hub. So
there's another artist called Young Pert as well.
Oh, yes. In fact, I should not have said that, but I'm supposed to be calling him because he DM'd me himself.
I like that.
Yes, he DM'd me himself. And so, Young Pert, if you're listening, I didn't forget you. It's just I was in quarantine, and then I was on the beach trying to get some sun, which is kind of not here these days because there's a lot of rain. But I'm calling you today, so answer your phone.
Nice. He's so
very
much,
good.
Yeah, we got a lot.
I forgot how good he is.
He's very, very good.
And of course, Tanika. I mean, there are all these amazing people here. But someone here needs to do a deal with one of the big companies just as a distribution. So basically what happens is you get signed to whatever is here. Let's say, Power 95 Records, right? But like Sony distributes it, or there's a arm that makes sure that you get on the playlist, because as you know,
playlist, that's how it is.
But you've got some artists here that could soar, because we haven't had pop star out of the Caribbean since Rihanna.
Mm-hmm. That's a long time.
That's a long time.
It's a long, long time.
Yeah.
We've got talent, but I think that is one of the problems, not knowing the connects, not knowing what to do, not having like management or a good management team, someone who's, like you said, on the distribution part of it, and, you know, to get the music to the right ear and take it from there. It's a lot of young artists, they love it, but they're not too sure what they're doing. They're basically doing it by themselves.
Yeah.
Or probably getting a little assistance here and there, but nothing to take them to that next level. And I think that's what's missing here.
That's
you
what's
know?
missing.
That's what's missing here.
That's what's missing. Because my job, like, I mean, this is a good brag. This is not a show off. This is just a bit. This is just
you've
a good,
earned
this
it.
is just a good brag. Like I could make press happen for people. I've got a big mouth. I talk to people. I convince them. But press by itself doesn't really work because you need the other factors. You need the radio plays. You need the playlist. You need that, and that's when you need the team to kind of, and then the press is the icing on the cake, right? So. But I like that the artists are being kind of self-sufficient too, because they're on Spotify and they're on Apple, and I was listening to John T on
Audio
Spotify.
Max,
They're getting there. So, but what you have to do, here's my, I don't know if it's really a proven science, but here's what I think the artist should do: control your social media. Like don't feel that you are over posting. That's how you build your audience. Like Jefferson is out of Ireland now, and he posted something where he was doing like a karaoke of one of my favorite songs, Tennessee Whiskey, and that is content. That is amazing content.
Content is
just content is king. You'll hear it over and over. Jefferson just posted him in some house singing, the camera pulled back, and you see the words, and he is killing the song. And I must have watched it 8,000 times.
It was really good.
It was very good.
Really, really good.
Yeah.
So, guys, you don't have to pay for this. It's a free one. Content
is king.
You might think people are getting tired, but there's always somebody else who's not.
There's always somebody scrolling at 3:00 in the morning. Okay. Yvette Noel Schure.
So, get work to do.
Yeah.
Chloe. Like I said, I'm such a big fan. I'm not like crazy, but that is one person I literally know if I meet, I'm going to like scream because I just love her vibe. And the fact that, you know, she's one who's definitely creating content as well for her page.
Absolutely.
Doing voiceovers, doing songs that's popping, that's really trending, she's starring on TikTok right now. And just taking these songs and giving them life, you know?
She's lovely. She's awesome. She's so talented. Both Chloe and Halle,
but they have different personalities. One seems to be an introvert, one seems to be an extrovert.
Yes, I think what the world sees, but what the world doesn't see is actually opposite. Like Halle is actually really tough, and Chloe's really sensitive.
But looking at it from our lens, it looks like the other way around.
Yeah. But it's amazing working with them for such a long time. I mean, 6 years doesn't seem like a long time, but when you're 20 and 22, that's a long time. Like I was working with them 15 and 14 and 15, or 15 and 16, which takes me right back to like Destiny's Child, the same age, and then watching them develop like that in such a short time. It's amazing, and there's so much more to come.
I think she's a really good example of creating content and making sure that she engages her audience.
Absolutely,
you know, because
she's also a producer. So sometimes you see I'm empowered. I love my body. I'm this and that. But then the next time you see her, she's like in that studio, headphones on, creating
beats and stuff. Yeah, she's really, really, really amazing. Really talented.
Yeah, the world is about to.
Can't
be
wait.
Enlightened.
Can't wait. And someone here is making a good point, which says, you know, of course, the band which Jefferson headlined, someone is saying, sorry, the band hasn't posted in a year. I literally went to their page on Sunday to see where they might be performing, and nothing has been posted. Artists need to differentiate between their business page and their private pages.
Absolutely. I can't say it enough. You know, and even if you decide that you don't want to post every day, and you post every week or every other day, your audience needs to be engaged with you, particularly now, even though people are beginning to go out and stuff. During the pandemic, that's what kept people going. That's what kept people going. I discovered so much good music because people just kind of did a little snippet.
And then you wanted more.
And
so
you're like, oh my
looking.
goodness. Yeah, you've got to keep people engaged. You've got to. Imagine if you were a teacher and you came into the classroom and you just sat there.
And didn't engage your students.
Think about that. Because at that point, the teacher is the artist, the students is the audience, right? So, yeah.
I like that. Engage, content.
Yeah.
You have to. And if you're serious about it, that's one of the ways of showing that you're really serious about it.
Exactly. I mean, there are people who just love making music to make music, but if you're making music as a career, then you have to work every day on it.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Whew, getting ready to run. But
this was so good.
Yeah, I know. So you're here, and of course, like you said, making home an office for a while. So there's definitely a lot of catching up to do, and in terms of what you'd like to see happen on our end from a musical standpoint, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, I'd love to see Carnival, but we
I know.
Can't have Carnival until we're all safe, But here's the one thing I want to say about what I'd like to see in Grenada. I mean, Calypso and soca is indigenous to us. It's indigenous to our soul. I'd like, though, for Grenadian audiences to accept when an artist wants to grow. And don't see it as an abandonment of the indigenous sounds, but understand that we're all triggered by what we see in the world and hear in the world. And so if a Grenadian artist is doing pop, just be as proud of them as if they were having you wind your waist. I think we have to understand that there's a big world out there to conquer. And, don't forget Rihanna started out with Ponder Replay, and, she still throws in her Caribbean stuff in there, but she has been able to venture out and try different genres. And I think we have to be accepting of that. Yeah.
That's a really, really nice way. Somebody says, Yvette is such an amazing lady. You always find time to respond to everyone despite her busy schedule, and no matter which part of the world she is.
That's because I don't sleep. Send me some cocoa tea.
Continued success to you. So she's around the clock 24/7. This person says she's always up, always at something.
I'm up.
Yeah, you've got a lot of energy, I saw.
And I don't drink, because I don't drink coffee. I don't know what is wrong with me.
Nothing is wrong.
It's mangoes. It's the Julie mangoes. I'm telling you, there must be something in the Julie mangoes.
And you're here at the right time. They're definitely in season. I saw you going crazy.
Did you see?
The mango dance. Yeah, I saw the
mango
dance.
In my sister's yard. Oh my gosh.
I saw you're here at the right time. Yes. You have a whole lot of those. So all varieties. So you're good for a while.
Exactly.
Right? But as always, an absolute pleasure having you here, having you home. Like I said, I know you've been grieving literally. So it's finally good to have you home.
My soul is healed. My soul is healed. Grenada is good for my heart and soul.
Somebody says come on for the cocoa tea by Tanti Maria.
I'm planning to come up to Birch Grove. I'm coming to
your Birch Grove peeps checking in. Belinda Farray, good morning.
I'm coming, Birch Grove. I'm coming to see Miss Neckles. She's grieving right now. A woman who is very important to me. She really was one of the women in Birch Grove that helped my mom get through a lot of bad episodes. And just recently lost her son, and I'm going to go visit her soon, and I'm going to head down to Bottom, Beauregard, and buy land to see my people, my dad's people.
You got to make the wrongs.
Yeah,
you
got to
make the wrongs. Can't be after all this time and not make the wrongs. So, thank you so much. It has been an absolute pleasure.
Can I say what I said to you, to your audience? Yes, okay, she may not like this, but I'm going to say it. I am calling on Mattel. I think it's Mattel. I don't think it's Hasbro. I think it's Mattel. I'm calling on Mattel. Mattel is a big company and they make toys. But one of the big toys they make that's all around the world is the Barbie doll. And with black and brown representation at an all-time high in the world, they need to have the first Aruna Barbie doll coming out of Grenada. That's all I'm saying. I'm putting it out there.
Listen, you got the connects, like
Listen,
I said.
I've got some calls. I've got some phone numbers in my phone that says Mattel, so I'm going to call them.
Imagine that at all. You're always such a good. You know what we say when we talk about good spirit, good energy? You're always that. I'm so grateful for having you home and
I'm so happy.
having the
My first stop, you knew I would come to you.
Of course,
first,
you got to
right?
come here.
Okay.
No, absolute pleasure. So thank you so very much. And much love to everyone who've been tuned in. Thank you so much, guys. Of course, you can go back and view again. They're saying
I
you're
can't
getting
wait.
a lot
I
of good
wanna view.
lives. Appreciate you as always.
Thank you.
Alrighty. And that takes care of our room this morning. We'll be back tomorrow, same time for another one. Thank you so much to our friends at Beacon Insurance and Western Union for making today's Ladies Room possible. We'll catch you again tomorrow, same time, same place. So make sure you check in. All right? Happy Monday, y'all.